Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Niladri Mukherjee and I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. I practice here in Mississauga, Ontario. Oftentimes people come to me for consultations and they have one question apart from all the other questions that they have is that how can I come to Canada as a visitor on a visitor visa, on a tourist visa and claim for asylum, claim for refugee protection at the Canadian port of entry. You cannot be farther from the truth if you think it like that. Hence, I thought it's high time for me to clarify a lot of fundamental concepts that many people are not aware of. Sometimes, the clients are being brainwashed by their, local consultants in some kind of a storyline. They take money and then in the end, clients are being waste their money. The process got completely wasted and all these illogical thinkings have been put into their mind without telling them what is a reality and how really things work. Hence this video. Okay, first and foremost, just try to understand is that we should not take advantage of a system that is meant for truly desperate ones. This is more of our ethical side of things, right? Money is one thing, our aspirations is one thing, and the other thing is to be ethical, right? So refugees, just to understand is that they are the truly desperate ones that are fleeing their country because of persecution. And it's not really, it's easy to make a video on an air-conditioned room, but it's not easy to be a refugee, right, for anybody's life. So first and foremost, we should never be in a situation or we should never even think of taking advantage of a system that is meant for truly desperate ones. So that's on the ethical side of things. Now let's try to understand it more from practical side point. It is a notion that Canada is a very welcoming country. We welcome immigrants from all corners of the world, irrespective of the race, religion, and everything else. That is true and untrue. Why true and why untrue? Well, for sure, we are a very welcoming nation. There is no doubt about that, and probably one of the most welcoming nations in the world today. But at the same time, you have to understand that immigration happens for a reason. Immigration is a very selfish motive by the Canadian government to make sure it keeps on getting tax dollars from the younger population, from the younger skilled population from across the world, because we have an aging population like any other developed nation. Our population is growing, is aging way faster. People are retiring in a way more faster scale, and hence it needs more and more fresh blood, fresh skilled blood into the system so that it keeps on getting the tax money, because in the end, we are sort of a socialist country, right? Our healthcare is free, our education is free, but it's free means those are coming from the tax dollars. So Canada have to ensure that it has enough population to pay for the taxes for the foreseeable future, which is why immigration happens. So why did I explain that? I did that because sometimes people think that, well, if I have a problem, for example, I have an abusive husband, my landlord is torturing me, my neighbor is bad, my neighbor got raped, then I can come to Canada and take refugee protection. No, it is your problem. Let's just think it like that. Yeah, it's your problem. It's not Canada's problem, right? This is the way immigration happens. This is the fundamental concept of a refugee protection. If you have a problem that you can solve it on your own with the help of your government, your problem remains your problem, not Canada's problem. Then what is Canada's problem? When, in which circumstance you can actually come to Canada, practically speaking, and claim for a refugee, and that may be accepted as well, right? Canada's refugee protection system is a very, very scientific process. It's a very scientific, bucketed process. It's a very, very technical process as well, but I'll try to at least make sure to make it as lucid, as sort of easy to understand as possible, if you will, right? So if you are somebody that is being persecuted, I repeat the term persecuted, it is not prosecution. Persecution is like a torture, right? If you are somebody that has been persecuted either because of race, religion, security, your sexuality, or your membership in a particular social group, any because of all these factors that I have just mentioned, if you are being persecuted and you are not being able to go back to your country of residence, your home country, or the country or the country of your habitual residence, meaning where you have been living for a long time, and your government is not supporting you as well. This is very important. Your government is not supporting you as well, or maybe your government is behind all these issues. Your government may be torturing you because of your race. The government is maybe torturing you because of your sexuality. Your government may be torturing you because of your membership in a particular association, or your government is torturing you because you must be saying something against the government. Only then you can come to Canada. Understand something, you need to come to Canada on a port of entry and claim for the refugee protection. Again, that's a scientific process as well. They will let you fill up a form, they will ask you a lot of questions, and only when they are convinced that yes, yours is a genuine systematic or unsystematic risk because of all these things that I mentioned, only then they will transfer you to a refugee hearing process. Other than that, they will simply let you go home in the next flight. And in the process, if you are not a genuine refugee claimant, you are basically jeopardizing everything else which you may potentially have in the future as well. For example, you cannot claim a refugee today and may, say for example, if you come today, claim for a refugee protection, that's not being accepted, you are sent back home, and 5 years down the line you want to become a student. Practically you can, I mean theoretically you can, but practically that your study visa will be rejected 100%, right? So refugees are the truly desperate ones, and it's a scientific process. So if you have any kind of issues that you can potentially solve on your own, right, with your government or with anybody else in your home country, Canada is not going to support you. But let's just then try to give you an example as to whose refugee claim could be accepted, right? Say for example, you're a journalist and you have been writing things consistently about the establishment, about your government, right? And hence the government wants to keep keep your voice shut. The governments may be trolling you, your government may be sending you for prison for a long time, not giving adequate justification as to why you're being sent in prison. You may be beaten by the government soldier, government army, government police, and if you, in that case, if you have got a Canadian visitor visa, you can actually come to Canada in the port of entry with solid justifications, with solid proof, and only in those kind of circumstances your refugee claim could be accepted. This is a very common practice, at least the clients from India tell me, is that my local consultant told me that, well, if you're not able to, get through, through express entry system, if your study visa, got rejected, if you have a visitor visa, go to Canada, claim for refugee, and your, asylum claim will be accepted. You will be sent back home. You'll be scolded, first of all. You'll be sent back home on your own expense. And that is probably the end of your Canadian immigration dream. So if you are not somebody that is desperate, do not even think of taking advantage of a system, or do not even think of enrolling yourself into any kind of this kind of a thought process, because 99.9% of the times, if not 100%, if you're not a genuine refugee claimant, your claim will not even be heard back. It is acceptance rejection happens when your claim is being heard. The immigration officers at any Canadian port of entry are super smart. So if you think that you'll make up a story with sort of fabricated documents, you'll be sent back and maybe you'll be banned as well for misrepresentation. So now that you know that refugee claiming, Canada is a welcoming country for sure, but really that does not mean that everybody's problem is Canada's problem, because as a country, Canada has to deal with its own problems. Canada has to take care of its citizens, its permanent residents, the temporary residents that are already there in Canada, already here in Canada, and only then a very small percentage of the overall immigration quota is being accounted for by the refugees. So please do not be brainwashed by the local consultants. If somebody tells you that you can come to Canada and ask for refugee protection, it may be a good idea to speak to a lawyer, to speak to a consultant such as myself, to clarify your doubts before moving forward with any of those topics. Because if you are a genuine refugee claimant, if your refugee claim is genuine, more often than not your claim will be accepted. It is a time-taking process, but then in that process you will be given an open work permit to work in Canada once you're in Canada, right? So your claim could be genuine, your condition may be genuine, your situation could be genuine, but at least more often than not, I see people coming and taking advantage of the system. That is something that is not going to work, right? So if you need consultation, drop me a line, contact at nuvonation.ca. Shall be glad to review a situation, to consult you, to be able to guide you in the right direction. Hope this gives you clarity, and I will see you in the next one, guys. Bye now. Cheers.